if you're like me, you're probably very bored most of the time. And sometimes when you're bored, you probably daydream a little bit. Well, of course, when I daydream, it's my wonderful imagination, I make up little stories. And so for my project, I decided to write down some of these stories and create a whole world to go along with them and a set of gods. So my world is just completely different from here, and so I would like to explain how it was made. So it started out with pretty much nothing, just two gods, life and death, sort of unnamed other than what they would do. And so Death, being sad and tired, decided to take a nap, and life gets bored while Death takes a nap, so she started twiddling her thumbs. And as she twiddled her thumbs, she created little gods out from in between her palms. So she created 6 little gods, but when the 6th one was created, it fell on top of the 4th one that was created, and that angered him, so he ate the 6th one. And everybody got very angry, and they all started fighting each other, and the sparks and whatnot from their weapons as they fought ignited Death's very big breaths as he was sleeping, and created this huge explosion. And so the one that was eaten, being very angry because he was eaten, sucked the explosion inside the other one, and it inflated him to the size of the world, and that's how the world was created. And so the other, and so the other 4, who weren't inside of somebody's stomach or a planet, they named themselves Srat, Zren, Rad, and Krill, and each of them created their own little creature to live on the world, intelligent creatures. So Rad made gnomes, Strat made pixies, Krill made fairies, and Zren made goblins. And so there's these little creatures running around the world. And so after they made their little, children, little followers, they paired off and got married and had a few children. And then their children had children with other gods, which were created from a tier of death. And eventually, down a few generations, they created, there was 12 born to 2 gods, Burke and Jack. And these 12 were very weak, and they sort of didn't have anything they could do. And so they decided they wanted their own race. And so they all put all their energy together and made humans and put us on the earth. And so it started out with 12 different clans or families that they put on the world. And then for the first 370 or so years, they lived on the world with the people and guided them. And so I wrote 6 stories, the first one being the creation story. The second one was about how the last 2 gods died and went back up to the godly realm. The third one's after the gods left Earth, and it's about a boy who goes on an adventure with a fairy. And then my 4th story is where it all gets serious and less childlike, and it's about a man who kills a dragon, and without knowing it ends up killing a lot of people in the world because dragons got angry and started the 500-year war. And so the fifth one is during the war, where a girl discovers magic, and they use that to kill off the dragons, all of them. And then the 6th one's after all the dragons stop attacking, and it's just about 3 kids who get in a mishap with fairies. And so those were all my stories I wrote, and if you want to read them and actually know the full story, it'll be over by my poster. I'll find a way to get it online or something. And if you want to know more about my world, it's on my poster. Any questions?
Yeah. So, in a lot of other stories, fairies are good or bad. What would they do most?
The fairies are very good creatures. They're nature creatures, and they're sort of chaotic. But the pixies are like opposite of that, and they're super evil. and they hate everybody, and they live underwater in crystalline cities. And that's where the three kids get trapped. Shallow?
Was this fun to do?
Oh, God, yes. It's nice because I could just sort of sit on my couch and just write for hours.
Malcolm, yes, my question.
No, actually, what is it?
How long did it take you?
I don't know. I started around the winter break. I wrote the first story, and slowly, just every week, I would write a few hours. And I started thinking about this at the beginning of the year.
Did your hand ever cramp?
Well, considering the fact that I was typing, especially on my little phone, it didn't really ever. Like I wrote it on cramp because no, well that too, but more I was working really slowly. Didn't go all crazy.
Yes, you're typing on your phone. Are you sending these stories to somebody?
I got the Google Docs app on my phone, and so it's all saved in the cloud.
Have you any illustrations or artwork, or worked with anybody to add some of that to your stories as well?
Well, on my poster, I've got a map of the world and places where each of the stories took place, and a symbol for each of the gods I made up. And there's like 21 plus the 12 that created humans.
Do you relate to any of the characters in the story?
The boy in the third story, it's about a boy who gets lost and found by fairies. I never really thought about this, but you know, considering I was lost in the woods for a night, that sort of relates.
in the story.
What are your favorite characters?
I don't know. I like the girl who discovered magic, Mela, just because I like her. She's a cool character.
What's your favorite story?
I don't know. Maybe the last one, just because it sort of wraps it all up.
How long are the stories?
Well, they vary from very short to very long. The first one, just because the creation story was like 4 pages. And then I think the longest one was maybe 9 pages typed.
Your typing looks pretty small.
Yeah, but it's double spaced.
That makes it all better. That makes it all better, right?
Yeah.
Where did you go with the symbols that dogs?
Well, all the gods sort of have their own domain, and so I made it related to that. And yeah, actually, those were the most recent thing I did. I just sort of sat down and went through the list of gods, and each one I was just like, oh, maybe we should do this.
Any favorite authors?
What?
Any favorite authors that might inspire you, or?
Well, definitely Tolkien, because like, I like what he did also. He created his own world and his own mythology and stuff too, and so, and also just love mythology in general, and you know, that's why I love 4th and 5th grade so much. Yeah. Yes?
Do you have a name for your saga?
What?
Do you have a name for this,
For the saga.
for the saga? Is it the Aidan saga?
It's my mythology.
It's the mythology side.
It's the Aidan mythology saga. Any more questions?
Do you think like you're only gonna write like mythology, or do you think you'll ever write anything else?
Well, I've had ideas for other stories, and so I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I might end up writing down some of those. Do I ever feel like it?
Isabel should get together and put your characters away.
We were actually going to do that, but we sort of forgot.